is up next to introduce our second Hall of Famer.
Congratulations, Judy. Good to see all the Webbers together. The Carrolls grew up 2 blocks away in a house that Quentin built. And I can tell you, my parents, myself, my late sister Melinda, were no finer people in the world than Quentin and Catherine. Now let's get to the son of the mayor of Chicken Bristle. Chicken Bristle, by the way, Susie's from there. We inducted Linda Mazzini, 3-time Olympian. You need to bottle that water. Look at you wanted to bottle water. Jim was the 5th member of that small but great class of '62 to go in the Hall of Fame, which is amazing when you consider there are only 6 people in the class. Or what is it, 65, 67? You don't know. Okay. Jim had 3 achievements in high school, any one of which would have put him in the Hall. Collectively, Charlie, he was in. One of them was that he was one of 5 kids that physically lifted up a Volkswagen Beetle at a teacher and put it in the North Hallway and wedged it in a corner. Now, give me the other 4, I can get him in the Hall. Also, during his senior year, I don't know who did this, but the class of '62 takes credit for feeding chickens X-Lax and letting them loose in the Arcola High School. And there's a whole page of the Tuscola, this Bible of Tuscola has a whole page of a Marcia Strader Graham poem to it. So I think just that alone collectively, I nominate the entire class of '62. He also was captain of the football and basketball team. And his coach in football was Bill Bukovich. I have another little theory that anybody that plays basketball or football for Bukovich ought to be at least considered for the Hall of Fame. Anybody that captained for Bukovich is in automatically. Now, I was just a freshman on that football team, and I always looked up to Bill, to Jim in football. Actually, I never looked up to him. I looked down at him writing in muscle cramps on the floor. Jim cramped all the time because, as we all know, Bill Bukovich, for some reason, did not believe in water. An athlete should drink water. It made them weak and soft. So I lost track of Jim after high school, and it was about 25 years. He went to U of I with Mark Vine and I think Bob and Janelle Patterson and Benny. A bunch of them went to U of I. And his name surfaced when Tuscola had problems with water. We got our water from USI that treated it, and USI got out of the business because they were going from testing for 2 chemicals to 160, thanks largely, we find out, to Jim and his cohorts out in Denver. And they wanted out of the business. It was capital intensive, it was technically complicated. So we were left with drilling our own wells and then testing our own water, which a lot of local people wanted to do. So I'm talking to Bob Shirey. I'm city attorney at the time. I was tasked to try and figure this out, which way to go. And Bob Shirey, the president of Northern Illinois Water, we were talking. I said, Bob, I need to get some independent consulting on this because you're conflicted because you're trying to sell us water. We need to get an expert in there. And he said, well, you played football with the world's leading water expert. And I said, well, who was that? And he said, Jim Manwaring. And it just hit me. Bucko, water, cramps. Jim, I'm sure, like all great men that convert tragedy into greatness, took that experience and dedicated himself to never having a high school kid ever cramp up his gym because of the lack of good, affordable, potable water. So anyway, he gave me Jim's number, and I called out to the American Waterways Research Foundation in Denver asked Jim for some advice. And the secretary answered and said he was in Paris and Prague setting up I got to get the words of what she said here, the Global Water Research Coalition. And I said, sure he is. I said, he's playing golf. And he said, I should tell people that. And she couple seconds go by, he says, no, he's in Prague and Paris. And the reason I said that was because if anybody knows Jim, he splits his time between 6 months of living on golf courses in Breckenridge, Colorado, and 6 months of living on golf courses in Superstition Mountain, Arizona. I don't even know if he has houses in these places. I don't even listen to Caddy Shack or whatever. Plus, Billy Orton, I saw him on the Golf Channel. He's the only Tuscola person that ever made the Golf Channel down in Superstition Mountain, and you shielded yourself for a free rangefinder. Anyway, Jim wound up recommending that we hook up with Northern for a bunch of reasons. He gave all the technical reasons, and it was very convincing. And since he was the leading expert in the world on water, that carried some weight. So Tuscola went that route. We networked with Champaign. We've solved our water problems. We have high quality water. If we'd gone the other way and tried to drill wells, it would have been very, very expensive and difficult. For 25 years of Jim's 38-year engineering career, he was managing director of the technical research and national programs for the American Waterworks Research Foundation. He developed the foundation of the world's leading research agency, the funding growing from $250,000 a year for research to $37 million. He built the organization from scratch. He was hired, and there was nothing. Everybody in the nation and in the world was doing their own thing. New York City had a water agency, they did their research. LA was stealing water from somebody up in the mountains. Everybody's doing their own thing, and so Jim had to go out and build an organization. They were reinventing the wheel, they were inefficient, they were duplicating, they were wasting resources. They weren't taking advantage of the cutting edge of technology to solve this problem. Back in the 70s and 80s, if you remember, people were predicting that potable water was the coming crisis. It was the existential crisis for the world. So Jim grabbed it by the throat and worked for years and hustled around the nation, and he built an organization of 900 public and private water agencies underneath his umbrella as the managing director to coalesce research, funding, coordinate things, get things more efficient. And then he went international, and he got, 15 nations around the world, England, Germany. These were sophisticated nations that had the technology to do what was required. And under Jim's tutelage, the American Waterworks Research Foundation became the hub, the leader of a worldwide effort to ensure the world would always have a plentiful, affordable supply of drinking water. Along the way, he had time to author over 60 scientific publications. He received the following awards and honors. Jim was granted a Distinguished Alumnus Award from the University of Illinois Spain College of Engineering, where he attended. He also got a master's in environmental from U of I also, wasn't it? He's a diplomat of the American Academy of Environmental Engineers. He's a member of the International Water Agency. He has a special award from the National Sanitation Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, a long way from chicken bristle, here is Jim Manwaring.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate the introduction, and I appreciate being here. This is quite an honor, and it's been a wonderful weekend. I've really enjoyed this. Mike carried on and on, if you know Mike. I have. And I kind of dozed off. And I started wondering who the hell he was talking about. And then all of a sudden I woke up and I realized it was me, and I really appreciate it. But after decades of marriage and a few years of retirement, I'm not accustomed to this sort of treatment. As you know, Mike was my sponsor, chief promoter, my introducer. And we were going through this review and selection process. Mike said that when I returned to Tuscola for this award, he would take great pleasure in busting me up on the golf course. I feel very appreciative to Mike for all of this, and I felt obligated to let him win. You realize how